Vernice Flygirl Armour, who is a former Marine, a former Tempe police officer, and an author.
Vernice Flygirl Armour.
Vernice Armour.
Vernice Armour, or Fly Girl as she goes by.
Vernice Flygirl Armour.
Captain Vernice Armour was making history as a combat pilot in Iraq.
She's the nation's first female African-American combat pilot
and has become a sought-after motivational speaker.
Armour is used to breaking barriers and challenging the status quo.
Turned her passion for progress into motivational speaking, teaching crowds across the nation how to overcome their challenges.
Come on out, Vernice!
How are you showing up in every moment? You ever walked into a room, two people are in there, they're not talking, but you know you just walked into something? Of course I had challenges and obstacles. I mean, everybody has challenges and obstacles. What's your name, sir? Charlie. Even the average white guy has challenges and obstacles. Right, Charlie? The key is acknowledge the obstacles, don't give them power. Right? Yeah. Hey. All right. We are ready. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. People are still logging on. Hope you enjoyed that little video there. What we are talking about today is Mike to Money Executive Edition. Let me get in here and get comfortable. And on my first slide, you see that jet in the back. I've actually done what I call the mastermind in the sky, where people were able to fly with me from Seattle on a private jet to Atlanta. They flew out. We spoke about what I was going to talk about that day at my keynote. They came with me to the keynote. They met the decision makers. They went with me backstage. They went with me to the book signing. We got on the jet that night. We debriefed the event. What did I do? What were their takeaways? How can they integrate some of what they saw me do into their talks, into their pre-planning, into their post-planning? Then we landed in Atlanta, jumped in the black car, drove over to, I think it was the Atlanta Marquee, and they saw me present for another client, which is the reason we were doing the jet and the mastermind in the sky, right? Because commercial wouldn't get me from the event in Seattle to Atlanta on time. So it was a perfect opportunity to do my mastermind in the sky experience. And it was amazing. So today we're going to talk about Mike to Money Executive Edition. Get paid to speak and keep your day job, right? So let's jump in. And I am going to be looking at the comments. So who is that? Sadie Garrick, what's up? I see you saying you're excited. I'm excited too. Let's see, who is that? S. Nicole, what's up? I'm excited. Happy New Year. Dean, what up? So just so you know, we are live. This is not a recording. And I'm also checking out the comments. So let's jump in. This is not going to be a motivational talk. All right. This truly is an activation. What are we activating? Your identity. The one you have, yes, but the one you get to step into. Every moment is an opportunity to step into the identity of who you are becoming. But first, you got to know, who do you want to become, right? Clarity, choice. This is integrating a new operating system. Period. End of story. This is not a motivational talk. Let's see. Not tricks. See and I have my glasses right here too, y'all. Real talk, 52. Sometimes I might have to put these on. And it's absolutely not pressure. What we want to do is clarify. And let me back up. There are quite a few people I've talked to. They said, well, I'm in a corporate job or I have a job. I can't get paid to speak. That's just absolutely not true. Even if you accepted payment to donate to a charity, right? Not that you have to put it in your bank account if you don't want to. But how many friends do we all know that are a real estate agent on the side? So if you can be a real estate agent and make money, or you can be an Uber driver and make money, why can't you speak and make money as well? But again, if that feels like a conflict, donate it to charity. The line that you have to be careful not to cross, and this is with your organizations, is using your title or position from that corporation, nonprofit, or organization as the lead to get that speaking gig, right? So you want to use your name. I say Vernice Flygirl Armour. I don't promote myself as a captain in the Marine Corps. I don't promote myself as the VP of sales. I don't promote as EVP or managing director, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you're going to do that and be on a panel and speak on behalf of your organization, that's one thing. But if you are building your own brand identity and you are getting paid, then I would just encourage you to use your name without attachment of the title. Now, have people gotten to know you from your title and from your position and what you do? Yeah, sure, of course. That's how I got known, for being a pilot, a captain in the Marine Corps. But I am not speaking on behalf of the Marine Corps. Does that make sense? All right. We're going to name the pain. Current reality, y'all. You're respected. You're being asked to speak. But are you getting compensated? And I'm not talking about the endless chicken dinners, right? And for those of us who really know, we usually try to eat before we go to the event. You're promised great exposure, but you're paid in compliments. And sometimes I can see us feeling a little undervalued because of that. Quick story, 15 seconds. A school reached out. They asked me if I could come speak. It was in my local area. I lived in DC at the time. And I said, yeah, you know what? Absolutely. It was a pro bono talk. I show up. The assistant meets me at the door. We're supposed to meet with the principal. And she said, oh, the principal doesn't have time to meet with you. She has a very packed schedule today. And I'm thinking, what? The principal of the high school doesn't have time to talk to me after I got here? It was crazy. But what I realized in that moment is I hadn't sent them a contract. I didn't follow the process that I normally did with my corporate clients. And when I did that, it didn't show the value up front of what they were getting, quote unquote, for free, right? So what I learned in that moment is even when I do pro bono, I will absolutely do a contract. Now I'll put $50K in kind, right? Because the keynote is $50,000 for that keynote. So they will understand the value of what they're receiving. And when we're planning and on the day of execution, we know everything that's being delivered, and expectations are written out on both sides. What time am I getting there? What's going to be delivered? What's the name of the talk? All the ins and outs. So it's not a hobby. It's not loosey-goosey. It's not, oh, we thought you were, or I'm not, oh, I thought I was, right? We all know exactly what's expected on both sides, and things are just super clear and clean. Clarity equals choice. And what do I mean by that? When you have clarity on who you are, brand, position, expectations, you can make the right choice. If someone calls up and says, hey, can you come and speak to my Sunday school class in Phoenix, Arizona? I'm very clear. I am not going to fly across the country to speak for the Sunday school class pro bono. They don't have a budget, right? But what can I do? Can I still make an impact? Absolutely. Can I send a video or can I Zoom in live for 15 minutes, right? How can you decide to make it a win-win-win? And why do I say 3 wins? Because I get to win. It was community give back. The organization wins, and the people, or the kids in that case, that would be watching the Zoom, they get to win as well. So there are many ways to create solutions, even at the end of the day. If it's not, I speak on your stage, you write me a paycheck, that can be the normal transaction. And every solution doesn't have to look like that. Because when Oprah calls me again and says, hey, V, come on, I'm not going to say, okay, Oprah, that's going to be $50K. No, I'm showing up, right? Oh, man. The ache or the mirror, right? Recognition before strategy. It's the platform. It's the recognition. It's the reputation. The who are you, all right? You're competent. You're respected. You're trusted. You are seen accurately for who you are. That's why they want you. They want you because they know you're competent. They know you're respected. You are trusted. You're amazing. You're extraordinary. You're phenomenal. They want you to do the sponsor spot. You're engaging. You're a people person. People resonate with you, right? We'd love to hear your voice on this. How many times have you heard that? It would mean so much if you could share. They want you to be on that panel. They want you to deliver that talk. And it does not come with a mention of compensation. You know what? Let me switch this up too here. How about this? Now you all can see me a little bit because it was just slides. All right. This is my first time doing it like this. So those of you who've seen my regular talk, you already know. Acknowledge the obstacles. Don't give them power. And it doesn't not come with compensation because you aren't valuable, right? It comes, hold on, let's pause for one quick second. Can you still see me though? You know what? I don't know. But we're going to go with the acknowledge the obstacles, don't give them power. All right. Let's see. We want to see you with the slides, V. Okay, Toma, there you go. Can you see me? Can you see me now? All right, hold on. I'm going to type that in. Can you see me now? And that'll show up in a moment. Oh no, just slides. Let's see. No, we can't. I can. Now you. Okay, good. There we go. What's up? So that was like 13 minutes of not being able to see me at all. So this is going to be down to earth and real, okay? This is my first time going live like this. And Les Brown had an amazing saying. He said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing ugly, right? So this is part of that. Some of this is going to be the ugly, and that's okay. And my goal is to give you amazing content that you can use, that you walk away from this remaining 43 minutes with more clarity than you came into it with. All right. Lance, Nicole, all good. We adapt and we overcome. Nelson, what's up? I can see you and the slides. Shayna, Beverly White, what's up? Oh my gosh, Sadie. Yes. All right. Tommy. So Thank you, Toma. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure you might have been putting that in there before, and I just couldn't see you guys because I was not looking at, who is this? Tamika, so proud of you, V. Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you. You know, we all have blessings to bring to the world. And I asked one of my buds, I said, what is the magic that I bring, right? Because I said, I don't think I captured on my website or in the marketing or this, that, right? I said, what is it? What's bottled up inside of me? And Lethea Owens, she's currently president of Black NSA for National Speakers Association. She said, she thought for a moment, because we were doing a weekend training. She was magnetic marketing. She's amazing. She said, V, you know, honestly, all the years I've known you, you confront people with the possibility there's more. And I said, what? She's like, yeah, no matter where you are, who you're talking to, when they leave your presence, they know that there's more available to them. They just have to tap into it. And I thought about what she said, and she said the word confront, right? Confront is very strong. She said you confront people with the possibility that there's more. And I believe that when we see the possibilities or the opportunities that are out there for us, sometimes we also feel very confronted, right? And it can feel a little overwhelming. And even in this realm, I've had people say to me, what if people don't want to hear my story? What if I don't know what to say? What if, right? I hear all the what ifs from folks. And I just want you to know that your story is valuable. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just our perspective that people want to hear. If I end up talking to somebody and they tell me they lost 200 pounds and now they're fit and they run at least one marathon per year, I'm looking at them thinking, what? How did you lose the weight? I'm all excited. I'm activated in that moment, right? And it's not that I don't know how they lost the weight. Someone who has lost that much weight, they ate less, they exercised, and it was more calories out than in. That's the bottom line, right? But I want to know their journey and how they did it. So when I look at you and your story, your experiences, your expertise, your leadership skills, people want to hear from you. For me personally, I didn't want to be another speaker coach. I was like, there's so many speaker coaches out here. People can get that stuff everywhere. But what did people really want to know from me when it comes to speaking? Number one, how do I command the fees that I command? Okay, great. Got that. Number two, how am I so gutsy? I hear people say that all the time, right? Oh, I wish I was gutsy. I'm like, you are gutsy, but just in your own way. Or how do you tap more into your gutsy? Or how do you uncover the gutsy that you have, that's inherently yours, that you were born with? Let's see, Toma, but what if it all works out? Mel Robbins. Yep, absolutely. Let's see, Sadie, I agree. I met you back at Black Enterprise Women of Power Conference, and our 2 minutes left me feeling hopeful and reassured I can do more. Oh, and then he said, you were amazing. I appreciate you, and I received that. I'm learning to receive a lot better these days. I was a cop, a Marine, a combat pilot, as you all know, and my whole life, even now, was built on serving and serving others. So when it comes to receiving, it's not always the most natural or easy. I'll even say that, or easy. And when I really open myself up and allow myself to receive, it feels so amazing. Because at the end of the day, people just want to help you. They just want to love you. When I walk out on that stage, that audience isn't sitting there saying, man, I hope she messes up. They want me to be good. They want to have a breakthrough. They want to have fun. They want to have a good time. They want to laugh, right? The audience wants you to win. Period. End of story. Let's see here. Because you're capable. So good. Let's see. You don't mind contributing. You just don't like feeling quietly undervalued. Have you ever felt undervalued? I'm just going to go back to that day going to visit that high school. I don't even know what school it was. I'm sure I could look it up in my records, right? In my CRM. But I just remember feeling, man, the principal doesn't even have time to meet with me. And here I am giving, donating, sharing a day of my life, not even the hour keynote, a day of my life, right? My gift of speaking. And the principal doesn't have time to meet with me. In that moment, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, felt a little undervalued. So, proof. This is a little case study. Tasha, she wanted to speak, got on 5 stages. 2 people out of each of those audiences wanted to bring her in or work with her, right? Say it could be VIP clients. If say you're a financial advisor on here right now and you get clients out of that audience, or say you're an executive right now that you want to speak for associations, or you're an executive that's exiting, right? And let's take it one step further from that 85K. 5 stages, 2 gigs off of each stage at 10K. 5 stages, 2 gigs, that's 10 speaking engagements at 10K, $100,000. Let me shift that. If you spoke twice a month for 10 months out of the year, let's take out July because you went on vacation, and let's take off December because everybody's in holiday mode. 10,000 twice a month, 100,000. Boom. I mean, I know I make it sound simple because it is simple. Now, are there some things that you have to do for people to want to book you, to know to book you, to have the accessibility to book you? Yes. I actually just recommended a couple people the other day to an engagement I was already booked on a certain day. So I have people that I will recommend out to speaking engagements when I'm already booked, right? If a veteran organization is asking me to come speak, I have buds that are veterans that are speakers that I will recommend for those events. Or if it's other events, right? I have people over here that I'll recommend for those events. And I sent their LinkedIn profile. So the decision maker could look at more about them, their experiences. Yes, they'll probably read their about stuff. They'll click on their link that says, hey, go to my website. But guess what? If you don't have a website and you're an executive, your LinkedIn is your website. All right. Flight path to momentum. It's an identity shift, you all. Who are you? And what is the identity that you step into to create the transformation for people that they're looking for? How many times have you gone to a talk, you sat in the audience, and at the end of the talk, you walked out and said, okay, what did that have to do with me? How many times have you sat in the audience at another talk and you walked out inspired, saying, wow, I know what I need to do now. I know what I want to do next. I know what my clear next step is. Even though you still might have some questions, or the possibilities could leave you feeling maybe even a little overwhelmed, right? Like, oh my God, now my to-do list is crazy long. But you left feeling inspired and transformed in some way to take action once you walked outside those doors. That's what you want, right? So it's a blueprint, your identity shift, your message, your offer. What's the call to action that people are going to take, right? And what's the blueprint to get there? So what's the interruption? Exposure is the opportunity, but exposure without leverage, I know the slide says that's extraction. I like those military words, you guys. You get, like, we're ready for the extraction. If you all have watched Survivor or Naked and Afraid, right? All that stuff. At the end of it, you get extracted out of the hostile environment. But when we just give of ourselves and there's no reciprocity, it almost feels like, okay, my gifts are just out there. They're being extracted. But what's the reciprocity? Because everything's not just about a transaction, right? Like, how are we really helping each other, and how are you being helped as well? What's your value? Now, how many times have you heard getting paid makes things less impactful? Or if someone wants me to come and speak to a veteran organization, and I'm a vet too, right? And I have my fee, they're like, oh, well, you should want to do it for free. Do you know how many veteran organizations I would be speaking for every single day while still trying to pay the mortgage, right? So money isn't everything. It's 100% about the impact, and what's the impact for them and what's the impact for you. How do you make it a win-win? And back to the very beginning, a win-win-win. It can be a win for all of us. No, it's absolutely not all about the money. And let's be honest, it feels pretty good when money gives you options, right? It's just about options. And what are you creating for your life? Those of us that have kids, what are we putting aside for college, to help them get their first car or their house, or whatever it is you want to use those resources and currency for, because that's all money is. It's resources and currency. Content gets you paid, but more than content, it's your presence. It's you. It's your positioning. When I first started getting paid, you guys, my keynote fee was $2,500. I am the same person. I flew the same helicopter. I fought in the same wars, but now the fee is $50K, right? What's the difference? Yes, experience as an entrepreneur and a speaker, but also the positioning. When I first started speaking, my positioning was nowhere near where it is now. My ability to reach an organization and speak to their challenges and create transformation was nowhere where it is now, right? And as my experience and expertise up-leveled, my positioning was able to up-level as well. Payment decisions are made way before you speak, way before you speak. When people move forward with me, yes, they already have the budget, but they also know they want Fly Girl. They don't want any leadership speaker, or else they would have booked another leadership speaker. When people book me, they want me, and they want the Fly Girl experience. And some organizations are now going to be booking me, and I actually fly an attack helicopter in and land on the lawn of the JW Marriott, right? Or in the parking lot of whatever venue we have. I don't know. That's my goal, to fly, yes, an attack helicopter. There's an organization here that has them. They fly them in air shows. I joined the organization. You guys, 5 keynotes a year minimum. That's my goal for this next upcoming year. Just 5 events where I come in, land, and your keynote speaker pops out of the helicopter. Come on, how cool is that going to be? So how do we keep things fun and engaging? And in this day and age, after COVID, people are craving connection more than anything, and experiences. How are we creating an amazing experience, right? So that payment decision is going to be made well before I speak. Talent, positioning. And for those of you that are here, I can send these slides out afterwards. You don't have to worry about writing everything down, because some of these I'm going to go through pretty quick. there's a power shift, right? And the power is inside of you. It's the identity inside of you. Presence is not personality. Presence is coherence. It's being in alignment. It's attunement, right? Rooms decide value very quickly. What do I mean by that? When you're sitting in the audience and that speaker walks out on stage, you are making an assessment within the first 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I've seen people get up and walk out of talks, right? And sometimes it's in the middle, or hey, I'd rather do this call. I'd rather go check my email. So how are you in alignment and attuned? And I call it listening to the audience, where people are feeling value, but know that people are making a decision within seconds. Remember the book Blink, Malcolm Gladwell? Excuse me. Already standing. Are you standing where you belong? Let me put on my glasses here because I want to read this. Oh, that's good. Are you auditioning? Or are you already standing where you belong? You don't have to audition. I was talking to one of my mentors, and we were talking about belonging in rooms. Well, she wasn't. And I said, when I walk into a room, I know I belong in the room. She said, no, you don't. I said, what? What do you mean? And in my head, I'm thinking, like, oh my God, does she see something I don't see? She said, you don't belong in the room. You own the room. Boom, right there, mic drop. Identity shift moment. Decide your value before the invitation. I was speaking for Booz Allen Hamilton, very first time. The executive, he came up to me, he said, hey, we don't have any money to bring you in, but we could fly you down first class and put you up in the Ritz. I was like, sold, right? So, and I was still active duty in the Marine Corps at the time. I was excited about flying first class and staying in the Ritz. And that was my very first time flying first class, you guys. Very first time flying first class. Now I've already rented or chartered my first private jet, right? And I do mastermind in the sky experiences. But I remember that very first class seat. And it was Super Bowl weekend. How I booked a gig on Super Bowl weekend the day after, it's a whole nother story. One of the executives at the Super Bowl get-togethers, maybe 7 people, super small, super intimate. She came up to me and she said, hey, I'm an executive with Bank of America. And John told me that you're speaking for them on Monday. I think we'd like to talk about bringing you in. How much do you charge? And I'm thinking, $2,500. Now, that's what I did on the inside. On the outside, I said, $2,500. Now, honestly, you all, she negotiated me down from there. I think the contract we ended up signing, the invoice was $1,750, right? I didn't know my value before the invitation. That's the moral of that story. Know your value before the invitation. And when you say the number of whatever you've determined that value to be, you need to believe it on the inside. That is a big part of your identity. All right. Your identity, who you are, who do you believe and know yourself to be? And every time my fee increased, I stepped into a new identity. What value monetarily, because I'm more than money, I know this, but we're talking about, right, the fee stuff. What value did I identify with, and what could my energy hold? Power shows up when your internal decision is already made. You walk onto the lot, car salesman is there. Within 30 seconds, you know this guy is new or this woman is new, right? The power is energy, period, end of story. The energy tells us this person's a veteran, this person's new, this person's retired on the job, this person doesn't care, or I am so glad I ended up working with this person because they helped me navigate that sales journey, right? Power shows up when an internal decision is already made. Now, this says hot seats right here. Whenever I'm doing something like this and I'm on Zoom and I can see people and I bring people to the stage, I can do a hot seat. Today, I'm not able to do a hot seat, but I can do something a little different. if you will put in the chat what your positioning statement is or what one of your biggest challenges are, I am going to answer someone from the chat. All right. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna get right here. All right. Now, I already made my quote, right? I shared my quote. Les Brown said, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing ugly. So, no matter what you feel or how you feel, this is your opportunity to talk to me about your position and statement. All right, hold on 1 second. I thought my computer was plugged in. But it is not, so we are just going to adjust real quick. All right, the last comment I see is yes, believe in who you are, the value you bring. Dr. Marlene Greenleaf, yes. Beverly White, very good thought process for me to revisit. Good reminder. All right, Beverly. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, hey, Tommy. I think there's a 1 minute delay from when I say something and when it pops up on the comments. All right. Biggest challenge for me to connect with decision makers. How do I find the groups who need a speaker like me? All right, it's great. Tommy, what do you speak about? How do I find groups who need a speaker like me? So Tommy, when you reply to that, I'll come back to you. Mental health advocacy is a saturated space. How do I ensure that I stand out without sounding like the room's therapist and more like the advocate for an individual's mental health and awareness? All right, Nelson, good to see you, by the way. Good to see you. What is your unique positioning in the mental health space? Because you're right, especially these days, mental health, there are a lot of people talking about mental health. Even people who aren't involved with mental health are talking about mental health, right? So how do you bring your expertise to the space with a unique angle or gap that people aren't looking at? And have you identified what that gap is? Like, what is your unique positioning in the mental health space? Jarrett, biggest challenge is being a part of a company that requires my presence on LinkedIn to be completely associated with the company. So it's challenging to develop a broader identity. Jarrett, this is good. Hey, what up, Jarrett? That's my bud right there. Mexico. We met down on I can't tell you what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But now let me just say, Jared's a great guy. Jared's great to see you here. Biggest challenge, being part of a company that requires my presence on LinkedIn to be completely associated with the company. So actually, Jared, put in what would you want to speak about? And is it something completely different from what you do for your company? That would be good clarity on that. And then I will dive deeper into that question, because that's really good. And a lot of people are going to say that, are having that challenge. I teach leaders to become fireproof so that they can stop burning out, instead can withstand I teach leaders to become fireproof so that they can stop burning out and instead withstand the heat. Shayna, I like how you put that, fireproof. That's a cool angle. So if you're at a networking event and somebody says, what do you do? I teach leaders to become fireproof. Oh, fireproof. That's automatically going to pass the eyebrow test. One of my mentors, Sam Horn, pop, right? Does it pop? Does it make your eyebrows? Does it pass the test? I like that. That was good. Leadership in HR. and workplace culture are my topics. Okay, Tommy, let me go back up to your original. Tommy, you said live equals gutsy. Yes. Let's see. Why am I not seeing your original thing, Tommy? And can I just say, I love the name Tommy for a woman. I just think that's awesome. Biggest challenge for me is connect with decision makers, how to find groups who need a speaker. Okay. Leadership and HR. What? Okay. For many speakers just starting out, the best place for you to start speaking is going to be in your own backyard in your city. So I live here in Atlanta. I could easily go on ChatGPT and say, I want to speak to, what are the top 10 leadership associations in Atlanta, right? Every single association, especially a local association, they have a person who's over program, training, development, the speaker series, whatever it is. Find out who that person is, get their email, get their phone number, and get in contact with them. And you have to be very clear about what it is you offer, right? When you call, let's say you called them on the phone, you actually got in touch with them, said, hey, my name is Fly Girl. Thanks for taking my call, Jamie. I know you're very busy. Just want to ask you a quick question. Do you believe your members would be interested in getting 20 times return on their money, being financially retired in less than 6 months, and a guaranteed way to win the Powerball lottery the first time they buy a ticket? Now, first of all, if you said something like that, they're going to think you're crazy. And I don't know, they might even hang up. But, and I say that in jest right now, but what are the top takeaways that somebody's like, what? Who doesn't want to win the Powerball? Yeah. Now you have their attention and you have permission to go on. But if you call up saying, hi, sorry to bother you, I just wanted to know, would you think about bringing me in? Right? They're not doing you a favor. You are providing value to their members, to their attendees, to the people in their audience, to the folks who are showing up month after month who want value out of that association / organization, right? Because they're paying dues, they're paying a membership fee. So those organizations want to provide value. And if you show up as someone who can provide that value, it's a win, and they're going to book you every time. I guarantee you there probably isn't any local association, if I were to call them or write them an email, that they wouldn't say, oh my God, Fly Girl, yes, we want you to come speak, right? Now, why would it be a slam dunk for me now? Because of my positioning, because of my experience in the field, right? They can go to my website, they can go to my LinkedIn, I have the testimonials. So what are we doing with your positioning now to set you up that when they go and look at your LinkedIn profile, even if you don't have a website, the articles you've read, the podcasts you've been on, the videos that you're putting out there, are you a trusted expert? All right, Jared, let me see if, okay, Jared, follow up. My focus is on developing servant leaders who are able to establish a future-focused culture that allows them to thrive. I'm going to say, okay, great. Is that also what you want to speak about? All right, and we're going to keep going here. Let's see. S. Nicole, Heavy, met you at Women of Power and work with you and Bethany for the AI cohort. Oh, okay. Hey. Here's my business challenge. When people ask me to speak or do something with their organizations, we have meetings, discussions, and everyone seems on board and excited. Then when I pose the one question about compensation, what is the budget for the event? They stop communicating, ghosts and crickets. Guess what? I don't have a bunch of talks. until we've decided I am the right fit, content-wise and budget-wise. It doesn't make any sense to go into all the talking if you're out of their budget, or if they don't have a budget, or if they think, hey, we're just going to get her emotionally connected and then she'll just want to do it for us. Some people and organizations, committees, they will do that. They'll say, well, I know she's 20,000, but maybe she'll do it for $500, right? And guess what? There are some people that do. They don't know that that's aligned in the sand for you, if it is, right? My granny always said, a closed mouth don't get fed. And there are a lot of people and organizations out here where they are going to ask. And if you say no, it's what they would have had if they hadn't asked, right? So when you say, what's the budget for the event? You're asking them what's the budget versus leading with your value. 98% of the time, I'm just not going to ask someone what their budget is. Now, I might ask them what their budget is after I've shared what my fee is, but I'm not asking what is their budget before I share what my fee is. Now, there are a lot of different sales philosophies out there. That's just mine. The only thing I'm going to talk about is what has been successful for me. And I'm not going to say other things don't work, because that's not true. Plenty of other things work. It's just not the way I do it. So when I'm on here with you all right now, the only thing you're going to hear me talk about is what has worked for me, what has been successful for me. And that does not mean other ways of navigating or other tactics are not successful. They're just not the avenues and lanes that I use. Fair? All right. Let's see. I'm gonna. Great. Let's see. Jared. Yes. Okay. Great, Jared. So since what you speak about is also what you do with the company, that's perfect setup. Because at this point, you are just showcasing your thought leadership, period, in the story. And if someone else wants to bring you in, another organization wants to bring you in, an association, a school, whatever, and you're just using your name, you've already laid the foundation for your expertise and your thought leadership. And you actually have credibility behind you because they can go to your LinkedIn and see who you work for, right? So your job is actually a little bit easier for your positioning, because what you want to speak about is what your identity and positioning actually is on your LinkedIn. So I think there might be another challenge that is there. So we have 9 minutes left. I have 9 minutes left and like 20 slides. Obviously, that's not going to happen. And I took longer with the hot seats and reading the comments, which I wanted to do because it's all about the conversation and what information can I help you can I give you that's going to help move the needle forward, right? I have created a cohort, a community, a container to help people with their identity, their positioning, their command presence, because presence equals profits, right? Presence, your presence is the foundation of everything. I am going to drop the link, and it's by invitation only. There is an application. If you know that you would like support on your journey of profits and presence and command presence, your messaging, your positioning, getting your LinkedIn profile set up, reaching out to decision makers with organizations. Look, One Sheets, the new model. Power is not about charging, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to go, right here. Tools that back your power, right? You got the speaker one sheet, email scripts, follow-up sequence, objection scripts. This, and I have this slide, and I talk about this just to share, there are many tools and things that you use, right, to help people make the decision of, yes, Jarrett, I want to bring you in, or to show them that you have the tools to not just be good at what you do, but also talk and share and create transformation around what you do. The $10,000 pitch, the 10K pitch. Why? Because there's not a single person on this Zoom today that should be pitching themselves less than 10K. What are the one sheet essentials? The promise headline, the specific outcomes. That's like what I was talking about on that call to the decision maker. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. You should know it inside and out, what your outcomes are, that if you delivered for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that the people from that BNI, Vistage, whatever networking you went to, they'll know. You need the right tools. Then you move from clarity. How many times have you tried to move forward, but you're not clear? But if you know exactly what you're going to talk about, you're boom, yeah, I can nail it. I mean, that's probably all of us on here, right? And for some of us, what I've talked about today is enough. And for others, you want more. Like this might have opened something up, because one of the reasons I put this on there, too many people sharing with me, oh, I want to speak. I've thought about speaking. I want to do this. I want to do that. But they keep putting it on the back burner. They keep putting it on the back burner. So what I just did, I dropped a link in the comments on LinkedIn. That is a link to the application. I am looking at bringing 10 to 15 people into a very specific container here at the beginning of 2026, where I am going to work with them. I'm going to work with you. My goal by the end of this year, and this is a super conservative, should be a slam dunk goal, but I like the 10-10, right? 10 months, 10K, 2 gigs a month. I want to help 10 people reach that milestone of 10K, 10 months, 2 gigs each month. That I'd be pretty stoked with that. And that's modest. That's a cool little goal. But is it a little different when it's in the executive space? That's why I call this executive edition, Mike to Money. Yes. And I'm creating a container around that. And there are going to be 10 people I invite into that container with me. So just wanted to drop that link. There is an application process. Fill out the application. I am personally reading every one. My AI agent is not reading all the applications. It's me. And I look forward to reaching out to those that fill out the application. And we'll go from there. And for some of us, it'll be a fit. And for others, not a fit. But I'm sure there will be something else that I can share with you that will help you on your journey, right? Identity shifts deserve containers. And I am creating a container that I know I will confront people with the possibility that there's more. And not just the possibility, how do you step into that possibility and make it a reality? So it's the Presence Activation Lab. We are going to activate your presence, because your presence equals your profit. Your presence equals the stages that you will be invited to and that you will walk onto. And at the end of the day, guys, you don't need me to be powerful. You are already powerful on your own. You just got to activate that power. If you join us, it's because you're choosing support. You have permission to engage. I'm not giving you permission. You always had it. You have to give it to yourself. You are not seeking permission. And you can decide on and choose support. So stop borrowing power that you already own, because you are powerful on in and of itself. Yes, you're powerful on your own, and we're super powerful when we're together. So I am Vernice Fly Girl Armour, and I was excited to be here with you today. I know I went through some of the slides kind of quick, shared some stories. They were fun. If you would like a copy of the slides, just, you know what, I'm just going to email them out to everyone who was registered for this, or even if I don't do the slides, maybe I'll just do something that helps on the speaker journey. If you are interested, no, not interested. If you know you want support, if you are ready to take your speaking to the next level, if you know that you want to start creating your presence, your proximity, your expertise right now, then apply, reach out to me. If you're getting ready to make an exit in the next couple years from your corporate job into the private sector, and you're going to be doing your own thing, or it's just time for a new chapter, or if you're staying exactly where you are and you just want to be more powerful exactly where you are, and you are ready to take that step, absolutely fill out that application. And what happens after that is a conversation. So there's no pressure. I am not a high pressure person. And this is an invitation to go on a journey with me. So if you're ready for a journey, and you know you're ready, and you've been waiting, and that's the problem, you've been waiting too long, go ahead, fill out that application. I read every one. We'll have a conversation. All right. All right, everyone. I appreciate you. Please feel free to private message me with any questions, comments, concerns, and know that I am here, and I have truly enjoyed spending this time with you today. All right. Take care.